Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Ramadan. I'll be making a video for you guys over Call of Duty Black Ops 2 today, and unfortunately this gameplay is not going to be mine. I thought I would give you guys that information right now so you guys don't, send all your messages or anything to this user. He's just a good friend of mine, and unfortunately I think he spelled his name wrong. I think we've talked about this before, or at least I've talked to him about it. Obviously you guys are probably the first time you're seeing this name, but his name's Nike. I think it was supposed to be Runner, but he spelled it Rune and then R, so I guess that's the main context of it. But the main gist of it is, guys, he goes on an absolute tear, and I thought this was a phenomenal gameplay. I actually wish I could pull scores like this on a consistent basis. I mean, sometimes, we all have our bad games. I play with him quite a bit. Here recently, I've been playing with him a lot more because, I don't know, we seem to have a friend in common, and that just seems to be how it, boils down. But overall, I do enjoy playing with him. I think he's a phenomenal player, and it's always crazy, as I continue to tell you guys this, but it's always crazy to see people evolve. If you were to look a couple of years back, or a couple years ago on my friends list, and let's put yourself in my shoes. You play with some people a couple of years ago. I was playing with really good players, people that are just phenomenal in kill death status, but maybe lacking a little bit in the win-loss thing, like myself. 3 years ago, I could give a shit if I won the game. I didn't care. Winning a game was pointless to me because XP was determined by the amount of kills you got in theory. Now, of course, that logic, gets changed around when you get the match bonus and stuff like that, but what I'm really trying to say is a couple years ago, I was just totally not a team player. It's crazy. And, many people called me out on it, and I was fine with it, I guess, in certain things, and I always had a defensive statement. It's like, well, I'm always getting the kill streaks, I'm constantly giving you guys UAVs, counter UAVs, and I never ran high kill streaks. I always thought they were cool, but I never ran them. I was never interested in getting dogs or choppers or any of that crap, because it seems so pointless. When you're trying to go for max level, the most logical thing you can possibly do is use the lowest kill streaks because you're constantly getting them. So, in theory, the lower you use, the quicker you level up and the faster you achieve max rank. That's why you see some of the best players using the weirdest setups. Now, granted, not every time on YouTube you do not see people using counter UAV, and whatever, we'll say care package or something really low. A lot of the time you see people going for gameplays, they're grinding for that, and that's their field. Myself, I like to pride myself on getting gameplays without using stuff that does the job for me. Now, granted, I may not be as good as a player as I was a couple of years ago. I'm getting to the point where I just don't care as much as I used to. If my kill death dropped below a certain point, I was ready to quit the game. Like, I didn't care. I was ready to quote-unquote dashboard or leave or sign out of Xbox Live, get off, go do something else. You guys can put whatever variable you want in that context, but I've done it all. I've dashboarded, I will not be ashamed of it. I've done it more than once. I've done it in Black Ops 1, I did it a lot. I did it so many times to the point where, it almost made me guess if my kill death was actually legit, but I think it was. I think I put the time in, and I definitely put the effort in to keep where my stat is. Now, granted, if you wanted to, you could deduct 0.5. I don't really care. I don't die that much, so I doubt it would ever drop that much. But, I did put my time in, and I appreciate everything I've done from that standpoint. But I'm not sure where I'm going with this conversation, so let's scrap it and move forward. But anyway, guys, the gameplay from this guy, phenomenal. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. I think it has a couple load stars in it, and I think it'll be a lot of fun for you guys to watch. But the formal stuff is going to be inbound here soon, and I'm going to pursue onward with that, and I'll talk to you guys here in a brief moment. So, as many of you guys know, at any time during the video, if you guys agree with something I say, or if you just want to show your appreciation, you can always mash that positive reaction button, along with maybe leave a comment with a question or concern. Maybe you just like to give some appreciation in a comment form. But as you guys know, YouTube also does have other features, so you can hopefully use those in a positive manner. I would prefer that, but that is completely up to your self-being. So, anyway, guys, I guess we are back. I guess I never really left, but, I figured that would be a good segue. But, as many of you guys know, I have a huge purchase coming up, and I don't know why it's so important, but I've been dwelling on it quite a bit. I have been kind of calculating it, and I'm a very mathematical person, I guess you could say. Like, I really think I dwell on things way too fucking much, and I guess that's a pro and a con. I mean, if you dwell on something, you're thinking about it to the point of every extent, and you're trying to calculate every single motion that could possibly go into effect. So there is a good of that, but the bad side is, one, it can be unhealthy, it can cause stress, but at the same expense, I question my thoughts a lot. And that's a problem. I've done this for years, so this is not like something like, oh, this purchase is somehow stressing me out. Like, I calculate a lot of things, and I figure things in advance before they're even available. Like, to be honest with you guys, my next paycheck that comes on the 1st, no, I'm sorry, the 14th or something like that, I already know exactly what's going to be spent on it. I have it all calculated out, and I figure exactly how much I'll have. Now, granted, there is leeway in that. You know, you can be $10 to $15 off in each way, but more or less I do know exactly what I'm buying, and throughout that period, over those next 14 days, I guarantee that I will switch more things than I probably think I will now. I will probably look at something and go, do I really need this power supply? Do I really need this? And, you know, obviously there's good question for that. I mean, when you're spending $1,500 on a new computer, it does make a lot of sense. Now, granted, some of you guys might be like, $1,500, well, I'm making a huge conversion from AMD to Intel. Long story short, just the Intel conversion by itself is equivalent to $800. So, you know, if you're going to be building a PC, I give you the functionality of really calculating your expenses, because there are things that you need, but there are also things that you don't need. Myself included, I tend to buy just a bunch of random stuff because I kind of want to, and that's a very bad philosophy to have, but, you know, that's just how it works. But, you know, how does this all relay into my Friday purchase? More or less, I am upgrading my TV, or, yeah, I guess I would say upgrading. I mean, and interlaced is not really an upgrade, but currently, right now, I have a 42-inch Apex 1080p or 1080i, I'm sorry, TV. And what does that mean? There is actually two kind of TVs that I'm familiar with. I don't want to get into the LED and 4K and 3D stuff because, one, I don't see huge improvement unless it's the 4K, but those are going to be priced at some ungodly expense that, you know, only the rich and powerful can buy as of the current moment. I mean, even with my job, I'm not that rich. I don't make that much money. But when it comes down to it, guys, currently I'm going to be buying, I want to say I'm going to buy a small TV or smaller TV, but let's be honest, I'm probably going to buy a 48-inch or 49, whatever the equivalency would be. 1080p, that's 1920 by 1080p, that's progressive scan. Currently I have interlaced. Do not buy interlaced. It's actually pretty hard to find interlaced now, to be honest with you guys, at least where I live, but, you know, somehow I did pick that damn TV. And what does this mean for you guys? Well, progressive scan works with YouTube or the internet in general. And considering that I'm getting an Elgato, which is going to use is it HDMI? Yes, that's correct. HDMI ports, it's going to go into my TV, to the Elgato, from the Elgato to the Xbox. More or less, what I'm really trying to elaborate to you guys and trying to make this as easy as I can is that the quality is going to be increased on my YouTube videos. The Elgato uses, I think if it's correct, I think it uses like 29 or 30 megabytes per second. And the equivalency of that is more or less on the same par level of how visually appealing it is. So, an example would be, let's see, who uses an Elgato? I want to say Gold Glove does. T. Martin might, I'm not sure. I think he still uses the PVR, at least his quality seems to suggest that, but I could be wrong. I know Drifter uses an Elgato, so I guess that's a good example. If you look at Drifter's quality on his YouTube videos, you know, they're phenomenal. They look great. They look really, really good. You know, you have like Woody's Gamertag that which uses the Blackmagic Intensity Pro, which, I don't know, that's something I think you stick in your computer. I would do that, but I just have no interest in it right now. Maybe later I'll upgrade to that and give you guys a review over that. But, damn, the time's running out. But anyway, the microphone, I'm going to be upgrading here soon, and I look forward to doing all these purchases. But at the same expense, I'll keep you guys more up to date. And I guess the gameplay's coming to an end, which sucks because I really wanted to talk to you guys for a little longer. But I guess this is going to be NMO, signing out. Till next time, guys. Peace.